We've got a question here from Jay, and Jay's from Florida. He says he rented a home, fell through the attic floor and into the garage. Is the real estate agency I rented through at fault, or is the homeowner?
Wow. Well, you know, he said he was in the attic and he fell through.
Yeah, he fell through the attic floor and into the garage.
Well, that really just depends. I actually was at a party last weekend for a birthday party for a former neighbor, and one of my other neighbors was talking about how their daughter was there and had been at home by herself with a friend, and the friend went up in their attic and actually misstepped, and that poor little girl fell through into the kitchen.
Oh, wow.
But she
Right.
stepped. There was nothing wrong with the home. It was simply you're in an attic, and if you step in the wrong area and you get off a rafter, you possibly, that
Right.
sheetrock's not going to hold you up. So some of that would really depend on what caused that fall. If he's up there in an area and it's dark and maybe he stepped off a rafter, that's going to be kind of a hard one. Now, if there was some kind of defect
Right.
up there with a realty company, I mean, you're going to have to show they had some kind of notice. Maybe your best bet would probably be with the homeowner. But again, that's not a slam dunk. It all depends on what actually caused him to fall through that flooring.
Yeah.
Right. And in some attics, they have a floor, and they have plywood up there. So if there was something defective, like Russ was talking about, if there was something wrong with that plywood, if it was rotten or something of that nature that they should have known about, that there may be something that can be done about it.
Well, and Bill or Russ, could you explain to Jay how med pay from probably the homeowner's policy, without actually having to go through the process of, I guess, suing anyone, how they might be able to recover some funds to help with some, medical bills if they have any?
Sure. Russ, you want that?
Yeah, I mean, you can handle it. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, you have a med pay provision under most policies.
Right.
And a lot of times that will kick in, and they make those payments not agreeing to or not accepting any liability for the injury. And a lot of times those, it just depends on the policy itself in terms of the limit of coverage and whether it's going to kick in. But now, if Jay's over in Florida, I am not licensed in Florida. I know they have different type of coverage over there, PIP coverage, I believe. So there are a lot of things that could come into play, but as far as typical med pay coverage, that's fairly straightforward.
Right. Yeah. And Andrew, like you were saying, medical payments coverage, it doesn't really look into the liability aspect where you don't have to show that the other side was at fault or the homeowner was at fault. Let's say that you went to your local bank and you slipped and fell, but it wasn't the bank's fault. It was, you just slipped and fell on, for whatever reason, or you tripped over your own 2 feet. If a business, which most businesses do, have medical payments coverage, they have to cover dollar for dollar your medical bills or your out of pockets up to the amount of their coverage, which is usually $5,000 or $10,000. So you're not going to get any pain and suffering or mental anguish or anything like that. You're not showing that the other side was at fault. You just simply their coverage allows you to get paid back for your out of pockets for your medical bills. So if you have an accident on someone else's property and it's not their, and they didn't cause it, you still may have medical payments coverage.
All right, just an option there for Jay to pursue in
Right.
Florida there.